Welcome to First and Global, a new show here on DAZN covering the NFL from an international perspective. I'm your host, Jakob Johnson, and with me here today and through the rest of the season is Mr. NFL himself, Andrew Siciliano. What's going on?
Hey, Jakob, thanks for having me, dude. It's a good title. I don't know if I've earned the title, Mr. NFL, but coming from you, you can actually call yourself Mr. NFL. I will gladly take it. It's great to get week one. I mean, what a week it was, by the way. I will get to your Texans in a second. I'm sorry, by the way. But, 16 games. Listen. You never know what is going to happen week one. That Monday night game was crazy. The first game of the year was crazy. Brazil was nuts. Week one, it's like this. It's this box. It's this gift under the Christmas tree. And you open it up and you have no idea what's actually going to be.
That is so true. I mean, as players, we spend all training camp preparing and our coaches are showing us film. But at the end of the day, nobody knows what is going to happen once we get out there on week one. You know, week two, you got kind of an idea. And for the rest of the season, you'll always kind of know what you're up against. But week one is a closed box and we got to open it. And I think in it was a great gift for the fans over there in Brazil because they got a big game to start the season off with. A lot of touchdowns, a lot of actions. And we got some guys here today, I think, that were at the game, right?
Absolutely.
So, I just want to, hear from you guys, how you guys kind of experienced the game day, the sights and sounds of the game, and what this week was like in São Paulo.
Well, we got Danilo Lacalle here from DAZN, and we have my good friend Omar Ruiz from NFL Network covering it from two totally different perspectives. Danilo, this was a home game for you and for all of Brazil for the second consecutive year. How did it go in year number two?
Well, first of all, I'm so glad to be here with y'all. And it was great, Andrew. I mean, Brazil breathes football. And people don't realize that we already have 14,000 athletes playing here in Brazil, more than 300 teams here. And NFL is growing a lot. So every time that we have a new football game here, the stadium is packed. There's a lot of people through the city coming to this party. So it's so awesome to have this. And we had Chiefs and Chargers game, a divisional round game. So it was so great. It was so great to have this game here. A lot of stars playing here, and everybody was so enjoying that,
Omar, you've done the international series before. How was Brazil different in year number two?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I think from the entire trip, just seeing the city, indulging in the culture, the food, just really relishing the opportunity to explore Sao Paulo in addition to the football. Was awesome. And I'd say my first international game was in 2016, Texans, Raiders in Mexico City. And I remember that experience being wonderful in its own right. But essentially it was, the main central park of town was decorated with, the big helmets that you see during Super Bowl week. And then it was the game. I think and then I've done a London game in 2019 and now this one. And I would say the way that I've seen growth over the years is that the entire week it felt like there was a buildup and you were engaged and you saw fans. And, to put it that on display more dramatically was the Chiefs and the Chargers both had watch parties for the NFL kickoff with the Cowboys and the Eagles on Thursday night. And they were packed. And they were packed with fans of those teams. So in other words, the Chiefs had all kinds of Chiefs fans there. It wasn't just the generic NFL fan that was there at those parties. It was diehard Chiefs packed. Then you go to the Chargers party, and they had two different establishments across the street from each other going, and it was all packed with Chargers fans, Brazilian Chargers fans. At first, I thought maybe there's a lot of people from Los Angeles that made the trip to go overseas, but it was just so concentrated, that amount of Chargers fans that were there. And so just to feel it all in the city, and then like Danilo said, the stadium itself on Friday was a festive atmosphere and loud and packed and excited. And to have those two teams, two playoff teams from a year ago, two teams with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations, It's no wonder, the Brazilian people have embraced the game. The game sells out in less than an hour when they go on sale, and really from one year to the next. I wasn't there last year, but from what people have told me, you've already seen the dramatic improvement in the way the NFL game has been embraced there.
Danilo, when the game in 2024 was announced, I think some fans in the United States went, Brazil? Really? We didn't know that there were American football fans in Brazil. How popular is the NFL after these two games now in these two consecutive years in your country?
Yeah, I mean, last research here in Brazil told us that 41 million people loves football here in Brazil. So it is a lot. It's growing a lot. That it has an increase of 26% each year. So every Super Bowl, we grow up this fan base. So it's so great because the first time we had this game here in Brazil between Packers and Eagles, the tickets sold out in an hour, and there's a lot of people outside the stadium trying to get in the stadium or be around to have that environment. And this time it was so much bigger. The city was breathing football. So we had like murals all over the city. We had a lot of watch parties, also an Eagles watch party here in Brazil. So NFL are looking more to Brazil, are trying to be closer. And also the Brazilian fans are trying to be even closer to the NFL because we love this environment, we love this kind of show. And also the CEO of NFL Brazil, Luis Martinez, he told that in 5 years, he's trying to make football a top 3 sports here in Brazil. So, I mean, it's growing and we're happy about that.
Well, Danilo, if you know any teams in Brazil that are looking for a fullback in about 3 to 5 years, you give me a call.
We have a lot, actually, yeah. We do have a national league here in Brazil. So with a lot of teams, a lot of great teams. There was 2 guys that already went to international player pathway program. So, I mean,
My guy
football in Brazil
Duval,
is
I know him really well.
You're already invited to come to us. To come play in Brazil.
I'll say I spoke to
go ahead, Omar. Go.
I spoke to the commissioner, Roger Goodell, before the game, and he essentially said that the NFL in Brazil is here to stay, and it's just will be a regular spot on the international calendar. They've been a lot of talk about putting a game in Rio de Janeiro, maybe as early as next year. They'll have to see how that unfolds, but essentially Brazil will be in the regular rotation, and if the NFL ever gets to the point where, like they are this year, where it is annual, that there are several countries hosting a game, I think Brazil will kind of always be on that list of international countries that will be hosting a game if it gets to be that annual basis type of schedule.
I was going to ask you about the conversation with the commissioner next, Omar. I'm glad you hit that. Any other takeaways from your conversation with Roger, with all eyes on the potential, and I stress potential, expansion to maybe 16 international series games eventually a couple of years down the road?
Well, it certainly seems like they're already preparing to have successful events in Dublin this year. They'll be in Berlin for the first time this year for regular season game. Madrid will host a game for the first time. And I think they're seeing all these, and Sao Paulo included, they're seeing all these opportunities as cities that will host annually. And I think when they talk like that, you get the feel that 16 game international schedule, everyone plays an international game, we're that much closer to it. And we heard next year, Melbourne is going to host a game for the Rams in the regular season. Obviously, London is set up for the infrastructure to host many games annually. Mexico City with the stadium renovations from the 2026 World Cup will be back in play. So I think it's just setting up to continue to widen the international schedule. And it's exciting to see. And I think just, talking to Commissioner Goodell, even in that brief time, you can tell he was, I don't want to say pleasantly surprised. I think he knew the fan base in Brazil was like that, but but excited to see what has been going on, not just in Brazil, but around the world with the embracement of NFL football.
Hey, quick thing. We
Let me
got to
tell you
actually
as a-
mention the game. Yeah, go ahead, Jakob.
Yeah.
Go.
I was about to say, as an international guy, dude, it makes all the difference in the world. When the NFL comes to your country, it makes it real. Like I grew up as a German football fan, where football was always far, far away in the United States. But those kids that are in pads now, that are in the flag football leagues, that actually get the opportunity to potentially go to a game or to just experience the atmosphere of the NFL in their home country, man, it makes a big difference. And I'm really sure that a few years from now, this whole football thing is gonna go even more international than what we're seeing right now.
And Omar, they saw a great game too, guys. I mean, that's the thing.
That helps.
Yeah, tell me, Omar, you were down there in the field. I know you interviewed Dan Henley afterwards, among others. The idea that Justin Herbert had a coming out party, which doesn't make any sense. They've gone to the playoffs multiple times. Obviously, had two huge flameouts in each of those years in the postseason. One of them, Jakob had a front row seat for last year. This seemed like a different Justin Herbert, however, when we saw him. He had an edge to him. Did you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a team that knows in order for it to be a true Super Bowl contender, it's going to have elite superstar quarterback play by Justin Herbert. Not just productive, not just good, not just great, but elite by Justin Herbert. And I don't know if he feels that, but I think he knows that. And so what we saw, I think, was reflective of that. And like you mentioned, he's put up big numbers. He's been to multiple playoff games. But to do it on the biggest stage and for Friday night, for a week one, that was about as big a stage as you can get on the international YouTube, and the entire world watching Justin Herbert perform that way. I did sense it. He ticked it up a notch and perhaps, maybe shed some of those, because you remember his playoff games, they blew a 27-0 lead, and he had 3 interceptions in all of 2024, and he throws 4 in that game against the Texans. So they are very memorable, as you mentioned, flameouts in those playoff games. So to throw a completely different narrative, not only was he good, he was great, he was clutch. The run on 3rd and 14 to seal the game essentially was, I thought we saw a different gear to his speed. We always knew he had it, but we hadn't necessarily seen it on display in the most clutch of moments. So to have that feather in his cap to beat the Chiefs for the first time since 2021, I think it goes a long ways for what the Chargers can be in 2025. And of course, all the rage there was, hey, Brazil's the good luck charm. The Eagles won the game last year in 2024. Maybe that's the Chargers this year.
Oh man, listen. What stood out to me was the Chargers looked like a completely different organization. Like you have that Harbaugh character to the team now. They're running the ball. They got a fullback in there. Obviously, Herbert looked as good as a quarterback is going to look. And with all that, I'm not going to lie to you, it looked to me like this was going to set up like the classic, Kansas City Chiefs comeback story, 3rd and 14. You mentioned it, with about 2 minutes left in the game. I'm thinking they're probably going to get the stop here. Mahomes gets the ball, drives down the field, and sneaks out another win like the Chiefs like to do. But I feel like you saw a moment where Herbert just said, "You know what? Not this time, not this year. I'm going to take charge," and got the first down for his team to ice the game. And that was about as exciting as football can get.
And Harbaugh has never lost in week 1 in the NFL. I mean, that's just
there
absurd.
You go.
And I think an added element to this Chargers team, I think we talked about all offseason, based on what happened in 2024. They had Ladd McConkey at receiver and not much else. And then to get Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen producing the way they did, I think between Ladd, Keenan, and Q, it was a combined 18 catches, 3 touchdowns. So if they can get that consistent production from the receiver room, in addition to, like you said, Jakob, Harbaugh's going to want to run the football, and they're going to smash mouth with that fullback. that can be a very dangerous team come playoff time.
Final thought here on Brazil before we say goodbye. Did Danilo or you, Omar, did either of you get to meet Carol G? Because when at halftime, I texted all my friends and said, I speak a little bit of Spanish. It's not that good, as Omar can attest, but I may have to go learn Portuguese.
You should. It's a beautiful language, but I mean, the Karol G choice was great because it represents all South America. So we have a lot of great artists here in Brazil, but NFL has chosen one that can represent South America and did it really well. So it was a great show and it was a great performance on the field too, because Chiefs and Chargers made a great game here. We had a lot of great highlights and also some concerns about this Patrick Mahomes offense, right?
Oh yeah, well, some of those questions coming into the season did not get answered, and so now they have 16 games to try to figure it out. But Andrew, you are in luck because Carol G is actually Colombian, and so she speaks Spanish.
Okay, well, see, I didn't know. That was my introduction. That was my introduction to Carol G. I didn't know. I stayed through the halftime show. I'll just let you know that my phone was blowing up. All my friends are like, "Who is this? Who is this?" So now we know.
We watched
justifiably so.
We watched the game as a team in the hotel, and a lot of guys were asking, "Who is this?" when the halftime show started. So, job well done, NFL.
I am not the only one. We'll get on the same text thread. Danilo Lacalle, who covered the game for DAZN down in São Paulo, and friend of the program, of course, my good friend, Omar Ruiz. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us on First and Global.
Hey, no problem. Jakob, I'll see you next Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football right here in Houston. Let's do it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Let's get to your game, Jakob, here. Sorry, I know
Let's talk about it.
Earlier that we'll talk about your game. So you guys came to LA, CJ Stroud returning home to Southern California. You're facing a Rams team that was very, very good. Obviously, you guys were a playoff team a year ago as well. So you get two playoff teams here going at it in week number one. You guys are road game. It came down to the fourth quarter. Rams eke it out 14-9. What are your takeaways?
Oh, man, listen, first of all, Rams, very, very well-coached team. You never have an easy day on offense going against that LA Rams defense. Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, who I played with on the Raiders, they had a connection in some key moments that kept drives going for them. In the end, I feel like we kind of, held ourselves back with some miscues from penalties, turnovers in key situations that cost us the game. A lot to learn from. Not discouraged. It's week one in the NFL. Usually in week one, the team that makes the fewest mistakes is going to come out with the win. In this case, we just got to get back to work here on Thursday when it's time for us to practice, iron out some of those mistakes, and I think we got a good shot on Monday to get our first win.
Yeah, how difficult is it to turn the page after week one? Because you have 6 months of preparation. You put all your energy into not just this one game, but to opening the season the right way. You guys almost pulled it out. You could have won it. Now you get that extra day before Monday Night Football, and you get the Buccaneers, another good team, a team that won, a playoff team from a year ago, coming to town. You have to get back in the building, watch the film, make your corrections, and move on like that.
Yeah, that's the NFL season. That's what we do. Like, you win or loss, you don't want to delve in the past all the way until Thursday or Friday of the week, because you face good opponents every week. Winning in the NFL is never easy. Every opponent is good. I think even a loss can be encouraging when you really get in there and you watch the film and you analyze and you see, hey man, these are all things that are within our control. We don't have to go find the answers somewhere else. The answers are right there for us. So I feel like that's encouraging, and just the group of competitors we have in this locker room, man. I already know what's going to happen on Thursday. These are going to be some spirited practices. Everybody's going to be challenged to step up and do their part to turn us in the right direction. But I'm not worried about where we're at this point. Everybody wants to win week one, but everybody can't win week one. It's going to be 16 losers coming out of week one, but it's what you do from there that decides where you go.
How'd the new offense feel? I was talking to CJ a couple of weeks ago, CJ Stroud, your quarterback, and a lot of people think, it's going to be the Rams offense because Nick Haley, your new offensive coordinator, obviously was the tight ends coach for 2 years here in LA with the Rams. But CJ was saying that it felt more like an old school Patriots offense. Obviously, you have experience there with the Patriots, and that he was watching old Tom Brady film to get ready.
Man, honestly, I wouldn't say it's a one-to-one anything that I've done before. I've been with McDaniels in that Patriots offense for years. I was with the Giants for a stint last season in another branch of kind of that New England style offense. I wouldn't say it's that. It's really something new. There are elements of it that I'm very familiar with. When it comes to the downhill run game, like that's what I've done my whole career. But there are definitely elements that are new and past concepts I've never seen before. I think the key to offensive football is kind of finding that rhythm, finding that comfort, that connection between the quarterback and all the pass catchers. And I think that's something that unfortunately takes a little bit to develop. I feel like we've made big strides since the beginning of this year, since the beginning of training camp. But I don't think this is the final product that people are going to see from this offense yet.
We'll see you guys back on the field. It's a Monday night doubleheader, believe it or not. One of those early on in the season coming up week 2 when the Texans take on the Buccaneers in Houston. Want to bring on now the head coach from the EFL, from the Madrid Bravos, who's going to be doing a show on DAZN this season called X's and O's. Happy to welcome to the program, Coach Andrew Weidinger. Coach, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me on.
Hey, let's roll through some of these other games week 1, other than the game in Sao Paulo, other than Jakob's game here in Los Angeles, the Sunday night game. And I don't know what the time change, if you guys were able to watch or whether or not you actually had your lives to handle. But the Sunday night game with the Bills coming back from down 15 with 4 minutes to go and beating the Ravens in regulation 41-40. You could almost step back and go, all right, like it's only week 1, but we've already, Coach, seen the game of the year.
Oh yeah, shoot. Hopefully, it's early, but that could be a Super Bowl or an AFC championship matchup right there. That was unbelievable. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona right now. So when it was 40-25, I got kids. I was putting them to bed. I was like, this game's over. And sure enough, I'm checking my phone and I got my daughter in bed. I'm like, hey, you got to stay right here. I got to see the end of this thing.
It's funny. I was flying back to LA from Cleveland. I'd gone to Browns Bengals, and I'm at 35,000 feet somewhere over the middle of America, and I'm trying to not make noise, right? But it's one of those ones where the lights are already out. It's a late night flight. People are sleeping around you, and I don't want to get too excited because there are a couple of plays in that game where you're like, what the heck just happened? Like the Keon Coleman bounce where he all of a sudden is sitting there with the ball in his belly in the end zone. You're like, all right, like when stuff like this happens, you're like, you know that it's going to have a crazy ending.
No question. In games like that in the NFL too, a lot of people don't realize two good teams going against each other, luck is going to be a component. Those games are 50-50 games. Anytime two teams with winning records in a showdown, a tip ball that gets caught, a tip ball that hits the ground, that can be the difference. And that play, unbelievable. That's Josh Allen just being a magician and figuring out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, Jakob, it's almost, we were talking before, it's almost as if those two teams, when you have a quarterback of that level, and you guys do in CJ Stroud, the reaction around the league is almost like, well, they're playing a different sport, right? When you could play at that level and when you have Lamar and you have Derrick Henry, when you have Josh Allen, when you have CJ Stroud, it gives you such a massive advantage over everyone else.
Yeah, I mean that was great football. There's not too many games every season that stick out to you. We got one here in week 1 that went down to the wire. You have stat lines on both sides that you're like, okay, well, obviously his team won. Like Derrick Henry's stat line, unbelievable. ended
I
up
thought he
being
was going to
on
break the single game rushing record, honestly, at one point.
Yeah.
Like at one point, you're like, he's going to run for 300 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I seen a stat that he's only a few hundred yards away from reaching his high school yardage total, which is
Have you guys
another
ever seen his
unbelievable
high
thing.
school footage?
I've never
Have you guys
seen
ever
it.
looked
No.
at it? Okay. Here's what I want people to do. Get on YouTube if you can and look, just find Derrick Henry's Florida high school footage. It looks like he's playing with 10-year-old kids that he just like found in the park. He's that much bigger than everyone else. He's running for 400 yards, Jakob, a game. Like sometimes in the first half.
That's insane. I saw that they had a rule. I guess his high school principal gave him a rule that he wasn't allowed to play anymore once they were up by 21 points because they didn't want to embarrass the other schools. And I just think to have a rule like that for one player is absolute madness. So he's still doing it, above the age of 30 now, I think, getting up there, but still performing on a level that is unbelievable. So for the Ravens to actually have lost that game, I think is just showing how competitive that side of the AFC is going to be this year.
Yeah, and it's also in all likelihood an AFC Championship preview, and that game could determine home field advantage. Jakob, I'm taking the Texans out of the conversation here for a second. Bear with me.
It's okay. Not if I have something to do about it.
Home field advantage. You guys obviously have 16 more games to figure that out, but that was clearly, it was a playoff rematch. It was what people were it's how that game was built up, and the game lived up to all the hype. Also, I thought on Sunday, the Jets beating the Steelers, not that the Jets beat the Steelers, but it was a total role reversal. Coach, you had Aaron Rodgers, who didn't look like he had it anymore last year, save for the Jets. The stats may tell otherwise, but in a deeper dive, you're like, maybe not. He throws 4 touchdowns against his former team, no picks. They had 5 explosives in the passing game. And Justin Fields led 6 scoring drives. It might have been the best Justin Fields had ever looked, and yet they still lost.
No question. Shoot, anytime, a quarterback, there's so many things around them that kind of can help dictate their performance, be it good or bad. And obviously to get those guys in different situations, maybe in different systems that maybe suit them a little bit better or they're a little bit more comfortable in. I think it was pretty obvious that both those guys, might have been written off for dead last year, but they both have something left in the tank and they both looked really, really good week 1. And we'll see if they can sustain it.
What do you think of that one, Jakob?
Obviously Aaron Rodgers kind of coming out here and showing that he still got it is exciting. But for me, as somebody who's played against the Jets a bunch in his career, I would have to say, man, Justin Fields is about as cool as a Jets quarterback has looked in the last 10 years or so. Like, he was out there, he was in charge, he was running for touchdowns, man. Like, that looked like something. And I really think that Aaron, that Coach Glenn might be building something over there in the Jets that's going to be very competitive going forward.
Yeah, they were a tougher team. You saw that from the opening snap. And there are, like with a lot of teams, like with your team, there's a lot of good to take away from a week 1 loss. On the flip side of that, and Jakob, I know you were on the field actually doing your job when the Packers were beating the Lions 27-13. You step back and then you go, these don't look like the Lions that we've seen the last few years. And there was all this talk about, well, their coordinators are gone. I spoke to Aiden Hutchinson last week, and he said that the locker room had said, listen, okay, like, we love our coaches, but don't forget about us. We are still here as well. This looked like a different Lions team. They lose. Their offense didn't have a lot of motion. They tried to stretch the field. They couldn't stretch the field. They just didn't look the same. And conversely, Micah Parsons is that dude. And whatever the Cowboys say about him behind the scenes is one thing, but Micah Parsons gave that Packers defense, Jakob, a jolt that they have talent, but now they're different.
Yeah, I mean, there's a key scene where he chases down Jared Goff after being blocked pretty decently, but chases him down on a rollout pass for the TFL sack, man. And there was all this talk before the game about Micah Parsons' potential back issues and how he was going to fit into this defense. Some people were talking about how he's bad against the run all of the sudden, but I think he answered a lot of those questions in this game, and he's going to be a real asset for the Packers going forward.
And everyone now, coach, is on the Packers Super Bowl bandwagon because it's week 1, so let's overreact.
That's what everybody does in the NFL. You got to overreact. Shoot, the teams. It's good to hear Jakob talking about, hey, we know we're going to bounce back as players, because as a coach, the first day after you lose, I know for a fact you're sitting in that meeting room and you're like, I don't know how we're ever going to win another football game. And then fortunately, by the end of the week, you're like, okay, I think we can win this one. But shoot, overreactions week 1. That's what the NFL is all about.
And we see the 2 helmets on the shelf behind you, formerly an assistant with the Buccaneers and the Falcons, and now, as mentioned, head coach of the Madrid Bravos. X's and O's Weekly, going to be on DAZN every week, hence the name this season. You have your play of the week here, which, let's go back to the Sunday night game. It was great situational football, coach. This is, again, your play of the week from X's and O's Weekly. Let's take a look.
All right, let's jump into the end of the first half here. Ravens on top of the Bills, 13 seconds and counting. Bills hit a big play to get across the 50. Josh Allen comes up, spikes it. 7 seconds left. Next play, got to be a touchdown or got to get about 10 yards and out of bounds so that they can kick a field goal. Take a look at Kincaid right here. He gets his defender running vertical right as he goes to the break point. He puts his arm out, pushes him a little bit, creates that separation. Allen drills it in, puts him in position to hit that field goal at the end of the half. Now you're saying, what in the world happened to 53? You just told me he was standing there waiting for this exact thing. Well, take a look. They run the shallow cross from the opposite side. They have that low hole defender. He's going to help on that shallow cross. But 53 takes the bait and comes down. Look at that. That's all it takes. 2-3 steps forward. Bam. Allen's got the hole to throw it in there. And the dude's got a rocket for an arm.
Yeah, they took the bait, and few guys can make that throw as well. And then, coach, you see Josh Allen running down, go what? Give me 1 second. That was close on the clock, but he's got the arm to pull it off.
No question. Yeah, that clock showed 0, but they were saying, hey, we think there was 1. And when they went to the replay, it looked like, there was still a second left on the clock. And average NFL play is 6 seconds. And sure enough, that one went 6. So really well done.
Yeah, not an average NFL arm. He is an alien. He is a superhero. He is playing a different sport at times than the other kids in the park. Josh Allen, Andrew Weidinger, the head coach of the Madrid Bravos. X's and O's Weekly on DAZN every week. Coach, thanks for joining us here. Looking forward to seeing the show every week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So just before we round out today's show, DAZN has a surprise for you. We're giving away tickets to the international game in London. 2 tickets, 1 for you, 1 for a friend. You got to cover your own travel, but we'll get you seats in the stadium. For all the information, all the details on how to be a part of this, how to get your hands on these tickets, check out @NFL on DAZN on Instagram and on all the socials to find that information. There's an exciting lineup in London this year. We have Vikings at Browns. We have Broncos at Jets. And LA Rams at the London all-time favorite Jacksonville Jaguars. So a couple exciting games coming up. All the information is on NFL on DAZN on social media.
I'm going to be at the Week 5 game, the October 5th game at Tottenham between the Browns and the Vikings. Jakob, I have never been. I know you were with the Giants last year in Munich. I have never been to an international series game. For all these years, I was always in the studio in Los Angeles. So I can't tell you how excited I am to go over there. Now, the Browns are going to be playing the Vikings, who will be well rested because the Vikings will have played the week before against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in Dublin. So they're staying over there for both games. But listen, I'm getting fired up after having our friends on talking about Sao Paulo. I know you've experienced it firsthand back home in Germany. London should be amazing this year.
Yeah, listen, it's an experience. Now that you reminded me, I actually was at a game in London. It was the Seahawks, I want to say, against the Raiders in 2013 as part of my my tryout to be a part of the NFL Pathway program. They flew me out to London. I had to do my workout, and as a reward, I guess they got me some seats to the game, and it's an experience, man. Like, London is a city like no other. First of all, because everything is backwards, right? They drive on the left side of the road. The roads are super narrow. Everything feels like kind of like an antique store or something. But yeah, I think you'll have a good time out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was there as a little kid. I'm going to age myself here. I was there in the mid 80s on a school trip, and it was a couple of weeks before the Browns were set to play. I don't remember who. Maybe it was the Vikings. We'll have to Google this. Mid 80s in an exhibition game, a preseason game, not part of what we now know as the International Series. And I remember I walked into a sporting goods store in central London, and I asked, where's the NFL stuff? And they looked at me like I had three heads. And then I wandered around, and then I found T-shirts promoting the upcoming preseason game. And I bought one of those T-shirts, which I still have somewhere in a box in the attic. And I remember when I was buying that T-shirt, I looked up and there was a monitor playing the 49ers and Bengals Super Bowl, like with Joe Montana thrown to John Taylor in the end zone.
Yeah.
But no one knew or cared about football. And I took it up to the counter to pay for this T-shirt. And the woman looked at it like, what is this? And I bought the T-shirt, and I still have it, and it still kind of fits because I'm still the same size as high school. Somehow I haven't grown. Anyway, but I now know, like, it's so crazy the difference in atmosphere now when you see on TV how every London game becomes a week-long festival. Jakob, it's not just a game on Sunday; it is a week-long celebration.
No, it's a celebration for all the international fans. Like, really, the London games are kind of the mecca for all the European fans to come together. And now we have the expansion into the game in Dublin, the game in Germany. But for the longest time, the London games were the only opportunity to see the NFL without having to fly across the Atlantic. So it's kind of established as this thing where all the European fans, man, if you can just get your hands on some of those tickets, you're going. So you'll see fans from every team. Don't expect to just see the Vikings and Browns fans there, like in the stadiums with all the international games. Fans from every fan base will wear their jerseys to the game. But yeah, it's a party, and it's a great atmosphere.
You may have to dig up or find that T-shirt and see if it actually still fits. Maybe it does still fit.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, like a lot of guys, they'll be like, "Oh man, I still fit into my old stuff," but
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Vikings and Steelers in Dublin week 4. Browns, Vikings week 5, as mentioned, at Tottenham. Back-to-back games at Tottenham. After that, as you mentioned, the Broncos and the Jets. Tottenham week 6 on October 12th, October 19th. It's on to Wembley for the Rams and the Jaguars. And then week 10 in Berlin, the Falcons and the Colts. And finally, week 11, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders against Tua, who had a rough day, week 1, and the Dolphins in Madrid, the first game in Madrid. Jakob, this has been fun, man. And do it again.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Some other time.
I can't wait to be back here, man.
All right.
It's gonna be a good season. Well, we're gonna be doing this after all the international games, and let me close things out. Everybody that's watching, thank you for tuning into the first episode of First and Global. We'll be back in a few weeks after the Ireland game between the Steelers and Vikings. An exciting time. The first time the NFL is going to Ireland. I know a lot of the football fans out there. I know they're super excited. Can't wait to hear about how that's going to go, all the stories that are going to come out of that. And hope you guys tune in next time. Until then, peace.